It says, let them draw the khimars over their bosoms. It doesn't actually say that they must actually keep the khimars on their heads. And even though that may have been the normal practice, it doesn't mean that it's an obligation to continue with that normal practice. So what's an obligation has to be spelled out. This is an obligation, as opposed to this is recommended, or this is a good thing, but doesn't matter if you do it or not, something of this nature.
So what you're saying is, it's in the Quran, it just says to cover your chest. So technically speaking, then covering your hair is not mandatory?
Well, from the Quranic wording, one would not derive the ruling that it is mandatory.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This video of Dr. Shabir Ally is flying around, and I think it is important to correct the grievous errors before it's too late. Can everyone please answer this question on their mind? If an instruction says, draw your skirt over your shin, does that mean putting on a shin guard? Does it mean turn your skirt to a wrapper to cover your shin, or to a bandage and cover your shin? Obviously, that is not the meaning, except for one who seeks to bend the rule. Respected scholar, this is the same situation here. You and I know the meaning of khimar, ma tughatti bihi al-mar'atu ra'saha, what a woman uses to cover her head. Therefore, if the head is not covered, it is not a khimar. If Allah has intended only the covering of the bosom, the word khimar would not be used. Respected scholar, regardless of your education and rank, you cannot change Allah's instruction. Allah the Almighty, the All-Knowing, knows that there are people in our age who, out of inferiority complex, societal pressure, pride, or desire to just provoke discussions, will seek to cover only their head or their hair, leaving the bosom, or to say that the Holy Quran has said khimar, which means head covering, so we are fine. Allah the Almighty immediately gave an additional detail before the excuse even came to light. He said that the same clothing of khimar should be used to cover their bosom, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمْرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. So clearly there are 2 points here. 1, khimar means head covering. That means if you do not cover your head, you have not acted based on the Quranic injunction. Number 2, Allah specifically mentioned the covering of bosom. As such, a female who does not cover her bosom has not acted in accordance with the Quranic injunction as well. Maybe the word let in the translator's choice of word for waliyadribna is what confused you. That would be surprising because you know Arabs would pass an instruction using the same style of expression. In fact, many Quranic injunctions were passed like that, and making it an option will mean that many injunctions in the whole Quran now become optional. For example, فَلْيُؤَدِّ الَّذِي اؤْتُمِنَ أَمَانَتَهُ, is there an option to and not to deliver an amana? وَلْيَسْتَعْفِفِ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ نِكَاحًا, is there an option for a bachelor to and or not to choose restraints against carnal desires? So translate وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ as they should or let them. The usage remains an injunction in Arabic and Quranic style of expression. Then comes the question of choice. Respected scholar, was this a directive from Allah? Did the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ take it up as a responsibility? If the answers are yes, then the Quranic dictate is, it is not open to a believing man or a believing woman when Allah and His Messenger have decided a matter to exercise their own choice in deciding it. Whoso disobeys Allah and His Messenger falls into open error. Respected scholar, I am sure you are aware of the Quranic verse I just recited. So when you said it is not an injunction, though it is the normal practice, in that case, then you may well conclude that the verse has no value, because if it is just a normal practice and mentioning it in the whole Quran is not an injunction, then there is no need for it, and there is no difference in mentioning and not mentioning it. People were already practicing it by choice, and it remains a choice afterwards. So what is the point in mentioning it at all? Respected scholar, the existence of this verse is only meaningful if it is an injunction from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if by normal practice you mean it is an Arab culture as some people had understood from your statement, then you and I know that hijab was not a cultural recommendation in the Arab world of the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If people used it, that would be majorly against dust and cold. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, I said, O Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, good and bad persons enter upon you. So I suggest that you order the mothers of the believers, that is your wives, to observe veils. Then Allah revealed the verses of Al-Hijab. That means the veil was not initially in practice, even in the household of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam before the injunction. It is the Quranic injunction that made it binding on all believing women. So, how do you call it a cultural practice? The Holy Quran also confirmed that it wasn't a cultural recommendation in the Arab world of the time. It says, "La tabarrujna tabarruj al-jahiliyyati al-ula." Do not show off yourselves like the showing off of the former days of ignorance. Meaning, tabarruj was the cultural practice in the days of Jahiliyyah, not hijab. Respected scholar, Allah forbade tabarruj, and you have made it an option. If reputable scholars like you can bend Quranic injunctions like this, then definitely we have to follow the Mahdi, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salatu wasalam, who instructs that, "Verily I tell you truly that whosoever evades even the slightest of the 700 commandments embodied in the Holy Quran, slams the door of salvation upon himself." May Allah the Almighty keep us all guided. Wassalamu ala man ittaba al-huda.